Hi everybody, Anna Sabramowitz here, your interactive storytelling coach. How is everybody doing today? Hope you're having a fabulous day. Today we're going to talk about a case study that I have from a huge company, and they sell software. And for some reason they thought story might be able to engage cold audiences to engage with the training and the software that they have to help people manage giant power plants. Cool, right? All right, so if that sounds interesting and you're thinking, hey, I have some software that I need to train, how will this fit into my world, right? Make sure you stick around, and I'm gonna open up my feed to make sure I can see your comments. Yesterday was a little bit wonky. I didn't get to see your feedback and comments. Here I am. Okay, so if you're here, you can see me. You better say hi. That would be wonderful. All right, cool. All right, so first off, I have some great news. Yesterday I did an interview with one of my students, Kimberly, and Kimberly just launched her interactive story, which is actually not just a demo piece, it's actually a real client project. But what's really cool is in our conversation, we really talked about, I think you guys will get a lot of value from it. I'm posting it tomorrow, so you better check it out. But one of the things that she talked about, which I know will surprise a lot of people, is that she's pruned her portfolio to represent only the work that she wants to do, right? Which is kind of interesting because it's hard to let go of some of those darlings, and she talks about that process. But really, it's about the things that you put out there speak about you and attract more of that. And I remember when I first got started with freelancing. I remember when I went on my own. One of the things I thought was, I'm just going to, now that I know what I want to do, I'm just going to, get all the projects that are super creative and they only do the kinds of activities that I suggest because I know best. And one of the things that happened is, of course, that didn't come true. What happened is I got contacted by people who said, hey, can you convert this PowerPoint? Can you make this interactive? But they really didn't know what they wanted. They saw some things, right? They saw some things, but they really didn't know the potential, and that really frustrated me. And for a while, I did what I hated doing, which is taking content and moving it from one platform to another and making it more engaging, which just killed me. Yeah. Oh, Brent is here. Madison, Wisconsin. Hello, sir. All right, cool. So let's talk about this huge company, IBM. This is a publicly available interactive story. I thought next couple of weeks, I'll go into ones that you guys can access, because I talk a lot about our student work, but like 90% of it is for their own organization, their clients, and internal stakeholders. So I can't share that stuff, but there are a ton of amazing interactive stories that I draw inspiration from, that my community draws inspiration from, and that have been used as ways to either attract new customers, new learners, to get people to challenge their beliefs, have some ahas. And I wanted to share those with you because in my webinar, which is available at elearningsecrets.com, I get into some examples, but briefly, because it's a masterclass on interactive storytelling, and I can't really get into each one there. So I thought I'd kind of do a little bit of a expose for you guys on the examples that I use. Plus, if you sign up at eLearning Secrets, you actually get to be notified first when I run my next webinar, which will include examples from, my students. So you get to see the behind the curtain work that we've been doing. I can share a little, okay? All right. So, and by the way, if somebody could put eLearning Secrets in the comments for me, I would love you forever. That would be like my delayed birthday present, okay? All right. So, when you think about an interactive story, what it's meant to do is it's not meant to teach people, how to use software. It's a story, right? And it's funny, I had this conversation yesterday with somebody who is actually designing software training. And there's this misconception that if you're a storyteller and you're an interactive storyteller, that story permeates everything that you do. And that is not true. Like, imagine if I said, hey, what's somebody's like asking me, what are the steps to sew on a button? And you're like, well, let me tell you a story. And I'd be like, no, I just want the steps to how to sew on a button. Like, just give me the steps, okay? I don't need the story. And so what happens is we sometimes kind of overuse a tool because we think it makes everything kind of like fun and engaging and people remember it more, and that's not true. The super purpose of an interactive story is to get somebody who is completely unaware that there's a there's a better way of doing things. They're in a cold zone, which is kind of like the unconscious incompetence. Their world makes sense as it is right now. They're not looking for anything. And that's like most of our learners are in that space. They're not learners. They're just people going about their day, trying to make the world work for them and trying to get through it so they can get home and watch some Netflix, right? Really, let's be real here. That's most of us. And so we're not always, unless you're in some sort of, unless you're an L&D, you're not always looking for new stuff to learn because you think learning is sexy. Most people aren't in that world. And you know this because you go to your picnic or like a family gathering, or you talk to some of your friends and they're not actively taking Coursera courses like L&D people are, which is crazy, right? So an interactive story is meant to get people who are in the unaware that there's a better way, unaware that they have gaps, unaware there's potential for them to live a better life. And what you're doing is you're taking them and through that interactive story, introducing them to decisions and a protagonist that is kind of on the same journey that they could take on. And you're selling them on the outcome. Like, hey, you're going to be uncomfortable for a while and you're going to have to learn some new things and things are going to be difficult and we're going to challenge some of those things that you thought were real and now they're not. But it's worth it because of this, right? You're selling them on it. It's all persuasion, really. It's all persuasion, ahas. And one of the biggest things you're trying to get people to do is sell themselves on that journey. So the what's in it for me, they're coming up with it. You're not writing bullet points in the beginning of anything. They're coming up with that. You're not showing anything like that to them. They're coming up with that stuff because it's different for everybody, right? So the IBM Interactive Story, what it did is they have super, super sophisticated software. There's no way you could story tell that software for like power plant management in a story. I mean, realistically, no, right? It's super complicated, technical. And let's be honest, anything that's that intense requires you to be like seriously invested. Like you got to want it. And the why has to be very clear for you because otherwise you're going to make mistakes and it's not going to be a good experience for you, right? You're going to give up faster because you haven't sold yourself on it. Hey, there's Pam. Love it. Training and marketing have so much in common. Absolutely. Thanks for being here, Pam. So what's interesting is one of the things that happens when you get people to be trained on software is because the training itself is so laser focused on the minutia of those little tasks. What a lot of people lose, we're talking about the why, is the context in which this is applied, right? Like, why do we use software? 99% of the software out there is to help people do something better. And maybe some stuff is on the back end, right? But in the end, you're going to be using that software when you're in the nitty gritty of learning certain protocols. You're going to have to be able to remember why in the world you're doing this in the first place, right? And that's what they did. So IBM, what they did is they crafted an interactive story about you being just taking over a job, handing over a shift in the power plant. And what happens is they're like, oh, there's a storm coming. Don't worry about it. It's, the media always overestimates how big the storms are going to be. And the guy leaves and this person's left alone. And all they have is this they have a bunch of, boards and stuff like that, but they also have the software on this iPad, right? And all of a sudden, things start shutting down. The grid goes off, the power plant starts failing, there's steam coming out, I don't even know, right? What's amazing though, is that, and then what happens is you use this iPad and the iPad really just shows you one or two decisions and only 2 or 3 of those decisions, right? So you go through this interactive story where you're like, okay, do you evacuate the plant or do you go and shut down figure out what's going on? And so they put it in really layman terms as far as, what I would be thinking if I had no idea about power plants and interactive story in the context of this actual situation. But then they up the stakes, and this person's like sister calls and says, listen, I'm at the hospital and you better get this fixed fast because there's babies in incubators and our generators won't last. And you're like, oh my God, that's pressure, right? Then there's other things that happen. The thing is, the software is a part of that story. Making decisions is a part of that story, but it's not training. It's not like when I finish that interactive story, which by the way lasts a couple of minutes, and it's so powerful, it's so emotionally engaging. One of the things I'm never gonna walk away with is, yeah, all right, I'm a champ, I know how to use this training or software. No, I'd be like terrified. Like what I want you to feel is like, wow, this is the thing I want you to feel at the end of this interactive story, right? One, wow, okay, that this job is intense and there's a lot at stake here. This is very important that I know what to do in these situations. Two, IBM has software that can help me make better decisions and navigate through this to help me in when this happens. So if at the end of that I said, do you want to learn how to do this? Like if you're a power plant operator and you're like, do you want to learn how to use this software that can help you troubleshoot? What do you think the answer would be? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm taken from a place where I thought I knew all my answers to, oh my God, this actually can be less stressful and easier because there's something there to actually help me make those decisions better. This software will help me. Cool. Now, when I get into the training, it's better because I'm primed, I'm hot and enabled, and I see the big picture. Like, you know, if you ever said, listen, I'm doing this job, I'm doing this software training because I'm going to save lives, because people aren't going to be, their ventilators aren't going to go down because I'm actually able to bring power back up. That's a big deal. And when can you ever do that with software training? Nobody ever does that, right? They just take you into the minutia of the training. So think about this. When you're looking at, and mode, yeah, that's great. Yeah, totally. It is a doomsday scenario. Online, you guys talk, we're talking right now. If we were in person, you'd be like, whoa, Anna, you're kind of over the top. But online, you lose like half of this connection, emotion, impact, and everybody's distracted with tons of stuff. The fact you guys are here, I applaud you. There is so much distraction. So you got to amp it up, because this is the place to fail. Online is in your interactive story is the place to fail, is the place to put things, the high stakes up, because you need to emotionally jar people. Those people who are like, oh, we can't really, we can't say this because it'll hurt their feelings. I doubt it. This is the place where you want to expose real situations where people will die, and in fact find, the worst case scenario, because otherwise it's all going to be lukewarm like everything else, and just they're going to get distracted by the next BuzzFeed quiz about which animal are you, right? Like really, this is what you're working against. So you got to amp it up. Don't be afraid. Now, so think about this. With the IBM interactive story, they have the interactive story is a catalyst for action. It's a catalyst for somebody to be like, I wonder if that could help me. I wonder if I need more training. I wonder if this software could help me, right? So for them, it's a lead magnet. It's a marketing lead magnet. But if it was training for internal staff, well, think about it. If I can place the use of the software in context of a real customer experience, a real troubleshooting situation, boom, right? Now I see the big picture. So that is simply a catalyst for me to get excited about the training and the simulations that are going to come later, because I've sold myself on it. It's a different kind of experience than if you just go, hey, here's some training. At the end of this training, you will be competent in using this software and you will have a better performance review. Thanks, right? It happens. So, and then, and this, what I want you to realize, and I can see this now, the interactive story is only a piece. It's only a single piece of a larger campaign. And it is a marketing campaign. It really is. That's our problem in L&D. We're shitty at marketing because we give them all this stuff up here that's like logical. It's like, you need this. We figured it out. We did all the needs assessment. You need this. And they're like, I'm good. Thanks. I'm busy as heck. I don't need anything. I'm doing my job. It's okay. Everything's going well, right? And you're like, no, but you need this. We did the needs analysis. The boss said you need this. No, I'm good. Thanks. Right? Like, what's it going to take? So you got to emotionally connect them with this journey. And then you have kind of like a learning path. Not kind of, it is a learning path. What do you want them to do next? This is simply call to action, a powerful call to action. So your interactive story serves as that first piece, the catalyst, and then there's all these other little pieces. And it doesn't have to happen in this like steps. It could be like after the interactive story, maybe they see a little bit of a webinar of somebody who was in a situation like that, and they're able to ask questions. How do they solve it? What happened, right? Connect with their peers, connect with other practitioners. And then here they could do, maybe it's like a couple of activities. We know that people don't learn through single events, right? It's a culmination, it's a compound effect. To become an expert or good at anything, feel competent, you need certain exposures, different contexts, so that you can make decisions and see how this kind of integrated into different parts of your brain. And storytelling is a part of that. But here, when I'm talking about interactive story, I don't want anybody to confuse the fact that you have to use stories in the training simulations or anything like that. It better be contextual. Scenarios are amazing here, but you don't have to be a storyteller for every single piece. That would actually frustrate people. It would frustrate me, and I love stories, right? Are you getting me? Are you guys getting me? All right. So it's kind of cool. I hope that clarifies things as far as, where you'll be using it. I think a lot of people think that an interactive story, when I talk about it, you gotta and these questions come up all the time on LinkedIn. They're like, yeah, but an interactive story isn't a fit for everything. Well, no, duh, just like a job aid isn't a fit for everything. It's not. There's a place for everything. A webinar is not a fit for everything. You can't walk around with that hammer, right? Just like e-learning isn't a fit for everything. So you got to be judicious and absolutely strategic. Yes, strategy is there. But think about it. How many organizations, and I talk to people, you guys, every day I talk to people because I run strategy sessions and I run coaching sessions. They have, it's crazy. Last time I talked to somebody, they have an LMS, established company, right? Established, years, like decades of work on their LMS. And they've been investing in it. And it's funny because one of the things they feel, it's like they feel now that they're at a disadvantage because their stuff is older, right? And I'm like, that's not a disadvantage. You just have to, they're like, oh, well, the thing that we got to do is we just got to make it like more updated. It's got to be more fresh. And I was like, are there people at your organization that have used this old stuff to become rock stars? Is there any recently in the past year that have used this stuff to become rock stars? And 99% of those people will say, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so their why was different. So we got to figure out, let's talk to those people and craft a story that will help everybody else get the same ahas that they did. Because they realized, hey, I'll go through this stuff and I'm motivated and it'll produce results, right? That's how you got to start thinking. So that's also a great candidate for an interactive story piece. So if you're pitching, don't come into the room going, you guys, we need an interactive story. Nobody is going to go on that train. Unless you're dealing with like a room of people who are storytellers or something, it's not going to happen, right? So in our coaching program, and it's called Interactive Storytelling Accelerator, which is just basically to help you launch your interactive story, whether you're doing it for inside the organization or for your own portfolio piece or whatever for a client, stakeholder. We talk about these things because, I can teach you how to do interactive storytelling, right? But you still have to realize that the world doesn't speak our language. We got to talk layman terms. And I think IBM really understood this because when I went through this, interactive story, which was, I'm sure the target audience was like people who run, power plants and things like that. They must have talked to practitioners who are just starting. And the things where they struggle so that those decisions in that interactive story were really compelling. And even I, who had like no interest, no technical knowledge in it, this is what I thought was brilliant. I like the second decision, I was sweating bullets. I was like, this is intense and I don't even care, but I now cared because I wanted to help this person make better decisions so they could recover the power back to the city. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome context. And every single one of you can do that. Every single one of us can do that. I think we just need to look at things a little bit differently and think about the fact that nobody wakes up like us excited about learning new things and stepping outside of their comfort zone because it is uncomfortable, right? So how do we sell them on it? You got to sell them on that journey. So if you're crafting things and every year, and I have those people in our community that are like, every year, this customer gets in touch with me and they say, hey, this year, let's just make it more fresh. Let's do the same thing, but let's make it more fresh. So one of our members, Luis, he's like, hey, you know what? I'm like, and it's funny because Luis was kind of like, he was showing up to the coaching, and he was like giving people feedback because we all share projects. But he wasn't really doing his own thing. He was just kind of like learning, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess Luis isn't really into making his own thing. Then all of a sudden he's like, listen, you guys, I got this project again. And all they wanted to do is just like take the same boring page turner flip e-learning and just turn it into more of that stuff. But I saw where the interactive story could fit. We didn't need to create new stuff. We just needed to get more people engaged in the original stuff. Oh my God, mind blown, right? He pitched them, he's doing it. He's working on it right now. and I was like, this is amazing. He just needed the confidence to be able to see where it fits. And that's, I think a lot of it is that you just don't stop. You don't stop pitching when you see that it's a fit, but you don't start with interactive storytelling. You start with what is already existing, maybe, and where is there a drop? Like a lot of times it's just getting people in. That's the hard part, right? So there's two places. Getting people in and then getting them to stick to it, right? How many people just drop off? They don't finish. It's just like, oh my God, like they'll start and they won't have the throughput. So the interactive story will get them started, and that's your metric, by the way, of success. Will more people after the interactive story go to click the link on the LMS, go to the training, check out this, book a session, whatever it is, reach out to a buddy, whatever, right? Whatever your next catalyst is, that's your behavior behavior change that you're measuring. This is it. It's not whether they become great salespeople. That's redonkulous. The measure of the interactive story is just, did they click the next link and go there? And then the next thing is, did they stick around to finish it? Now, that could be a part of the interactive story. Did you sell them on being uncomfortable in this journey? And two, does this really suck? Sometimes it does. I'm not saying this stuff is all awesome. I've seen some terrible things. Not only have I seen some terrible things, I've been part of taking them and developing them. Therefore, I know they exist. Embarrassing, yes, because we should do better. So that's your measure of behavior change. Do they go there? And then do they stick around? See where they drop off. But that's 99% of people's problems, right? Getting people excited about this. So that was cool. So if you're stuck here, right? If you're doing more and more of this, but less and less people are seeing it, and you have to push it and push it and push it, maybe we should talk, because interactive storytelling isn't intuitive for a lot of people, especially in instructional design, right? We're all happy, honky-dory over here. I can create Sims all day. Scenarios are actually easier, but interactive storytelling, not as intuitive because it doesn't work the same way that everything else does. You need to know how to leverage storytelling plus agency, which is giving people the autonomy to make decisions. But on top of that, you really got to talk to people who are, practitioners, because it helps you craft a story that means something to the end user. And I don't want to talk to you if you're the kind of person who likes to whittle away at things on their own, release it to the world like some sort of artiste, and think that that's going to be good on first try. Because to craft a meaningful interactive story, you're going to have to get feedback, which is going to hurt your ego. You're going to have to talk to people, which is going to be, for some of those designer artiste hermits, is going to be painful because you don't enjoy that. Now, if you want to be a good interactive storyteller, that's not what we're looking for. So I'd love to talk to you if you are comfortable talking to people or you want to get better at it. You are cool with collaborating and you are interested in what people have to say. You're interested in impacting that journey, because this really is about, it's about ego, of course. It's about crafting things that make you proud, and you want to put them out there and not feel ashamed that you wasted somebody's time. Trust me, I've been there and it feels like crap, because you're like, wow, not only did I waste 3 months of my life, now somebody else is going to have to pass that on, and that's going to be multiplied by the thousands of people that are going to see this. What a pain in the butt, right? But if if you you are designing e-learning already or designing learning experiences and you want to take yourself to that next level where you are crafting things that are a part of that journey and you want to augment that experience with this and this resonates with you, I would love to have you as a part of our community. We're looking for 6 more people to join us by the end of this month. I'd love for that to be you if this fits, right? Now, if you don't like working with people, you don't want to collaborate, you don't want to talk to practitioners, or one of the things is, people are waiting for permission for somebody else to give them the opportunity to, to invest in themselves, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just go check out some free resources. I have a free webinar. You can check that out. But if you're ready to jump on and you're ready to begin, I'll be there to support you every step of the way. Also, I'll put the link underneath the video to book a strategy session with me on my calendar. I'm like this all the time. But one of the things that you'll find is after you book that session, there's also a bunch of questions. And please take the time to fill those out. I appreciate it very much when you do. It gives me some context about, what your goals are and where you want to take yourself. Because let's be honest, we don't craft these experiences just because we like to craft these experiences. A part of this is your skill set that you're building. It is your own. And I talk to people who believe that it is their employer who has the responsibility for them. No, you are the only one responsible for your future. And those skills of interactive storytelling you can take with you. Hard work, everybody's got that on their resume. But having a piece that attracts more of what you want, that is awesome. That's brilliant. That's priceless. All right, so that's enough for me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, found this valuable. Guess what? I'll be talking about another case study tomorrow. And then if you have any questions about what I said, please share them in the comments. I read them after you guys, even after it's live. And I just wanted to say thank you for Christian, Pam, Mode, and and Brent for being here, because I know you could be watching like so many other things on the internets today. So thanks so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, friends. Bye.